Hey everybody, welcome back to the LuckyDog podcast. This is your host, Elias Roush. This podcast is sponsored by EliasRoushMedia.com, photo, video, digital media production. Well, we somehow finally freaking made it to 2021. I know I probably should have had something a little bit last week when the New Year's had happened, but it just happened so fast. I actually think I got a cold of some sort, and this was probably last week at some point, and so I had a lot I was just watching, and I was unable to record. You can probably hear a little bit of my sinus and nasal congestion right now, but yeah. So forgive me with that. I just wanted to kind of give a quick recap about what the hell has been going on in the world and behind the scenes on the Lucky Dog podcast, just to kind of give everybody a roundup of, you know, behind the scenes kind of thing. So let's kind of rewind a little bit. Let's just go back to the week of Christmas. I think that was about 3 weeks ago. The week of Christmas, I believe, was the same week that the COVID vaccine that was released by Pfizer, I believe, was distributed that week. So I just wanted to kind of give a clarification of how long of a period it's been. I mean, we closed sometime. The U.S. generally closed down, shut down for the pandemic sometime in March, and it took us all the way through uh, most of December for us to come up with uh, a vaccine, which is probably the fastest they've ever come up with a vaccine that quickly. But I mean, let's just say we have some of the most highly uh, regulated modern medicine that we could probably possibly have. So, I trust it, and I believe I'm going to get the Moderna vaccine. I actually got tested for COVID today, and first time I've gotten a test. I just was not feeling great all last week. Kelly and I both got sick over last week, just right after Christmas, and we couldn't really figure out what was going on because each day felt like a different symptom. But overall, if we did have COVID, we're going to find out in a few days. We both got tested. It just took a while to get scheduled. But if you're experiencing any of these things, definitely get tested as well. It's better to know than not, and quarantine as need be. So we both had a small fever. I had a fever pretty much all day. All of her symptoms were about 2 or 3 days before mine, and so I think she had got it before I did. Whatever we got, we don't know if we got it or not, but I'll just give you the list of symptoms that we've had. Um, we've actually kind of had different symptoms, to be honest. She wasn't feeling great one day, then it turned into sinus stuff, then it turned into being tired, then it turned into no sense of smell and taste, and eventually it just kind of waned off a few days later, and that was all of last week, and now we're starting to just now come back. I had a similar experience. I had like a fever, a mild fever all day around the 31st. It was the very last day of 2020. Just 2020 was trying to just eat me alive the last few days. So I was tired on the 30th. I was running a fever, a mild fever off and on, like around 99 to 100 and 100.5. Um, and I just didn't feel great all day. And so I was like, I wonder if I'm starting to get a cold of some sort. Hopefully not, COVID. So I ended up going to take some medicine, take some Robitussin, take some Tylenol, just see what would help. And next day I felt great, which was the oddest thing. Nothing felt like nothing had felt like anything had happened the day before. And so that was the first. And then the second happened. The day after I felt amazing. The next day, I realized that my nose was stopped up, my taste was really dull, everything was just really bland. Everything tasted terrible. And naturally, I was like kind of freaking out. I've been freaking out every day since I've had whatever I've had with loss of taste and smell. So the reason I think that I did get COVID, or I've got some sort of bug, is that I've never lost my sense of taste and smell to this extent. This is one of the most uh, I guess not life-threatening, but still one of the most sideways shifting feelings I've ever felt in my life. I don't know if anyone has ever lost their taste or smell to this extent. Now, when I say like taste and smell, it just tastes like all food is very dull and unseasoned, and it just feels like you're eating texture. And it's everything's just not that great. And honestly, I couldn't taste the majority of my food for the past few days until it hits like really much lower into my throat. Like I honestly could not taste anything till the food was in the back of my throat. That felt like last night. Um, but yeah, so it's been kind of a struggle the last few days. Oh, and on top of that, we're both having we're starting to we sound like asthmatics when we walk upstairs. We kind of feel like we're losing our breath a little bit. That's actually a big reason why I wasn't able to podcast for the past few days. I just felt like I couldn't catch a really deep breath. And when it would, it just was not satisfying. So I just have to sit there for, I don't know, 5 minutes and just relax after I was walking upstairs. It's a very strange feeling, you know? Nobody wants to have this shit. I don't, obviously, there's, uh, if what we do have is COVID, then, I'm I'm speaking firsthand. Absolutely wear that mask. I'm going to wear my mask as much as possible when I uh, get better. I'm trying to regain my strength and regain my breathing ability. I haven't been able to work out. I used to work out every day, just about at least 5 out of 7 days of the week, and I haven't been able to work out since like last week sometime when I felt okay, and so yeah, that's just what's been going on my side, kind of with the COVID stuff. COVID has just been going crazy. I do have friends that have gotten the vaccine, so I just want to say that I'm very glad that these people have gotten the vaccine. My buddy Benz, he's been on the podcast before. He was on Mission Impossible, I believe, Fallout podcast. He's been on some other podcasts as well. Um, he's been on other aftercasts actually. Now that I think about it, when we were discussing the PS5 and Xbox whatever Series X, I guess. I don't know. That feels like a fucking year ago after everything's happened. So that's what's going on the personal side, kind of the COVID side. The COVID craziness is still going through the fucking roof. Don't get too excited about it ending yet. We still have to get over a hump. We need to get vaccinated. I think this is what we're rounding the second to the third plate, and so we're getting ready to come home soon. So, yeah, I just want to say that. On a financial side, I will say that I have been kind of ill the last week and a half, just kind of rolling into this year, unfortunately, but I have been able to make a little bit of money. I am enjoying a lot of cryptocurrency trading. I'm not here to tell you what to trade, what not to trade, but do your own due diligence, do your own, find out your own financial advice. This is the only thing I would say is I've made money in crypto with holding on to Bitcoin, and I have made money a little bit in Dogecoin. Actually, I've started to kind of realize that there's a high and a low to just about everything you can buy. It doesn't matter if you're buying stocks. It doesn't matter if you're buying a car. It doesn't matter if you're buying a Bitcoin. It doesn't matter. There's a high and a low, and pretty much everything fluctuates in price. And so with saying that, cryptocurrency is something that is constantly traded 24/7. If you think about it as any different than like a Pokemon card or something, that fluctuates in price too. Look at eBay. Yeah, collector's cards and stuff like that. They're going through the roof. Just think of it like that. Try to find some courses that might help you branch into making a little bit of money on the side. I'm not saying strictly stocks or crypto is the way to go. It's just something that I've enjoyed, and I I can recommend it to somebody that doesn't want to leave their house. It's all about learning and having, a little bit of cash on hand to invest in and, make it come back. And if you're not a big investor, like a day trader or anything like that, totally understand. Just saying, um, do it long term then. Don't just, there's no reason for no one to be in the market, in my opinion. I think the market is just golden opportunities left and right, especially because we're in the pandemic. So things are relatively low in perspective of hopefully how the growth of the economy is going to happen over the next few years. So let's continue on from the financials to what's been going on in the U.S. Oh my Lanta, holy Santa Claus. I gotta say that yesterday is going to live in infamy for all of the wrong reasons. And I have to say, on behalf of probably a lot of people, that we, we the people that infiltrated the Capitol yesterday on January 6, 2021, do not represent what I believe the majority of people would call America. The United States very much has a problem with political division, but what happened yesterday was absolutely not a representation of uh, what should be going on in a place of order. This is absolutely the opposite of order. Everything was out of order. Um, I remember yesterday just sitting by my desk, typing away and editing and clicking buttons and stuff like that. And I turned to my left after Chuck Schumer's talking about yesterday is a sacred day in American history, not just because apparently the 6th is the specific day that you confirm the election results through the Electoral College. So people that are outside of the U.S. are like, the who, the what, the when? It's basically they're confirming that we're going to have a new president on the 20th of January. And so there was a pro-Trump mob that infiltrated most of the Capitol and the outside area, as well as the general D.C. area, which is absolutely supposed to be one of the most highly guarded areas, not only in the States. It's supposed to be one of the most highly guarded places in the world. And they let these assholes walk right up in their windows and take all their shit. It is absolutely disgraceful to talk about, just from there's multiple levels to this. It's the fact that there was even a mob there at all to begin with, which is shameful. Another thing on that, which is just embarrassing, is the lack of security. I sat here for, I don't know, it had to have been like 2 p.m. or something like that. I can't exactly tell you, but I think it was in the afternoon. They were doing these confirmations. There's Republicans and there's Democrats in the Capitol, and they're both having debates about, whether the legitimacy of the election was true or not. And yes, absolutely, by all definitions, there has not been any election fraud. As a matter of fact, the elections in Georgia, which were just certified yesterday, to have two Democrats in the Senate for full Senate control, which is kind of a checks and balances with the president. It's a Republican-led, usually, in recent years, which has made it easier for Trump to get things passed. So it's now going to be Democratic-led. So there'll probably be more Democratic-led agendas on the Senate floor. And so they were there. The pro-Trump mob was there to dismember, I guess, this this gathering. My biggest question was like, and then what? You're going to storm the Capitol, and then what? What was the biggest? What were y'all even planning to do? So, there's. I just remember sitting here watching the live stream unfold. I had about 3 or 4 live streams of the Senate hearing before the mob had begun. But there's multiple levels to this. This was not only encouraged, but the fans were flamed once again by this asshole of a president we have. He was called on by multiple Republicans and Democrats to call off his pro-Trump mob, uh, these these domestic terrorists that are destroying federal property. And the first three things he says are some of the most conceited things he could say that he knows aren't going to help. So the first, let me see, what was Trump video yesterday. So let me see. Here it is. Don't give me an ad. No. I knew it was an ad. Anyways, I'll get it in 2 seconds. This asshole fucking... Jesus, 30-second ad. Alright, so, anyways. This asshole has, like, the biggest platform in the world. And he is continuing to fan the flames of false claims of election fraud. It is absolutely benign just to think about what this guy's bringing.
I know your pain. I know you're hurt. We had an election that was stolen from us. It was a landslide election, and everyone knows it, especially the other side. But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody
in law and order.
It's a very tough period of time. There's never been a time like this where such a thing happened, where they could take it away from all of us, from me, from you, from our country.
All right, that's it.
This was a fraudulent election.
See, he's fanning the flames.
Play into the hands of these people.
Well, what you're saying is
we
against.
Have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel. But go home and go home in peace.
That was the most backhanded way of handling the situation of these looters, rioters, thugs, and domestic terrorists. Yes, because they found explosives there. They found explosives around the Capitol, and they need to continue to do investigations into that. I don't understand why that is just buried. Is just the lead is just buried on that one. It's like these guys were going to do some crazy shit. There was talks about photos of people with hog ties and stuff like that. Like they have talked. The Proud Boys have already been caught trying to plan something of a coup to take the governor of Michigan out a few months ago, I believe. That was like back in the election time. And since then, it's only gotten worse. This is a minute video, and 40 seconds of it is empathizing with the people that are committing felonies. He says he loves them. Like what? And he says you see what happens and stuff like that. It's like, what is going on? Like, so to continue on from that, this is probably one of the longest aftercasts we've had, but I think this is an important one. To continue on, Twitter ended up locking his account after another tweet, I think. And after that, Facebook has locked Trump's Facebook after releasing that video saying it incites riots and stuff like that, until the transition of Biden is complete. Is that not the craziest thing? Like, first of all, where the hell were you guys like all the last 4 years? What the hell took y'all so long? I know that it was only recently that Twitter decided to crack down on Trump, but I've never seen something in modern day history that feels so much like the calculation of how Caesar went down. I remember, I mean, this is like, Rome and Caesar and dictators and shit like that. Like, didn't Caesar get stabbed by someone else. Like I need to check and see my history. Did Caesar Caesar die in Rome? Let me see. I gotta check that now. Cause it wasn't okay. So yeah, it was an assassination of the dictator Julius Caesar, assassinated by a group of senators. Um, yeah, that's it feels very much. It feels like poetic justice in a way. I don't know. Trump said something to Mike Pence via Twitter that Mike Pence was not, with the American people because he was going to certify the election. And I'm just I'm seeing this like this is the turning of the tide of the Trump tide, I think this is when a little bit more of the Trump support is peeled off, and then another layer is, sewed back on. Because as soon as I saw this, I knew this entire ordeal was going to be compared to how Antifa and Black Lives Matter was treated. The the treatment of the pro-Trump mob was absolutely absurd. I know that there was like a lady that was shot in the Capitol when she got in there. She's like an Air Force lady or something. Or she was a veteran or something. And obviously, there did not need to be blood spilled, but you also did not need to break the federal law and try to, bust up in one of the most sacred places on the most sacred days of the United States. Like, this is some straight up shit that will be talked about for the next, like, 1,000 years of, like, United States history. Like, we talk about when the British infiltrated, I think in like the 1700s. They infiltrated I think the White House and the Capitol, maybe. I don't take my word for it on both. It's one of them. They infiltrated one of the most sacred houses on in our place. So I will say that I think we're living through modern history for better or worse. When it comes down to the pandemic, when it comes down to the fall of Donald Trump, when it comes down to the division of the United States, we're all living through it, and it's just some crazy stuff. It's definitely something I did not see coming a few months ago or even a few weeks ago. I thought everybody was trying to go into 2021 relatively soft. Oh yeah, and Kim and Kanye might be getting a divorce or something like that, but that's late news. So, like, whoa, like 2021 got to chill, bro. Like, I gotta tell you. So, I'm curious. Let me see what else. I think that's about all I can talk about right now without smacking my lips anymore. I'm my 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 drink is low and I don't have my drink around, so I'm probably gonna have to call it a good one. But yeah, I'll be sure to label this aftercast. What is this aftercast anyway? This is probably one of the longest ones we've had in a while, and one of the most jam packed. I will say this has probably been one of the more memorable ones. So this is Aftercast 21. If you like the Aftercast where we talk about just random shit, we're not talking about like TV, movies, media, and stuff like that. Although if you want to hear more of that, you can check that out in the LuckyDog podcast feed. You can get all this early, live, first, YouTube, Twitch, Patreon. All the links are in the description. 5 stars, subscribe, follow, do all the things. Why can't there just be like a one thing? Just say support the podcast somehow. It's so many different things you gotta do. You gotta follow, you gotta subscribe, gotta do this, gotta do the Patreon, gotta go live, gotta go notifications. It's like, oh my geez. It's just like so much shit. But yeah, and also I think I might try to switch up the days on when the podcast is going to be released. I know it's normally Tuesdays, but because it's the new year, I kind of want to do a little freshness on it. Maybe do a new day, maybe like a Tuesday or Wednesday kind of slots. That would make it easier on me to kind of have it not just one day, maybe one or two, and there might be a few more podcasts throughout the week as well. And by the way, if you want to support the podcast, please go to patreon.com/LuckyDog podcast. You can get the entire podcast early, the library. You can get the podcast early. You can get all of the older podcasts as well. Be sure to check out all the different tiers as low as $2. Easy to support, and it'll help us grow as well. Thank you for listening, supporting the Lucky Dog podcast. Let me know how I can improve, and take it easy.
Hello, Elias.
Hey, Grandpa, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good. I took the afternoon to go to work.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm drinking. I just enjoy coming down here. How you doing?
Very nice, very nice. I just got a COVID test the other day, so I'm waiting to get back from it to make sure that I'm negative so that we can go grab some lunch, if that works with you.
Yeah. Yes, you got to be careful. By the way, I got a shot yesterday.
Oh, you got it?
Covenant Village. Everybody there.
Which shot did you get?
I know the symbol. I think it's mRNA.
Oh, that's
Moderna.
it's probably the Moderna one, right?
Yeah, Moderna.
Got you. You feeling all right?
Yeah. I just read something on the computer that Moderna shot might last for a good while, more than a year.
There we go.
I have to get the second shot, of course.
Absolutely. So,
Yeah.
Grandpa, in your 300 years, have you ever seen anything like that happen at the Capitol yesterday before?
It never has happened.
What you think?
What do I think?
Yeah.
I think that they ought to get rid of Trump under that Section 25 of the Constitution, and I've read that the FBI is looking into that whole thing. He's crazy.
Did you see the responses he said, like, after?
Yeah. He when he made his response, he said the election was fixed. He's crazy.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, it's all rigged. Just go home. It's all good. He was like, he said he loved them.
Yeah, really, he's not normal. He's not normal the way he thinks and does stuff like that. And there ought to be some kind of a test, a psychological and intelligence test.
Well, he would have failed. He would have failed both.
What's that?
He would have failed both.
Yeah, but we ought to have that and let people know the grade that they got on it. Want to run for mayor? I think you're all right.
Yeah.
Anything that, any officers in Washington that involve the whole country would have to take that test and get a mark, an explanation, and that would stay on his record.
Yeah, I agree. Did you before it all went down, did you see what he said to Pence? He had tweeted at Pence or something like that and said that he's gone against the country or something. And that was one of the last things he said before he posted that video, and then he got banned on all social media.
Yeah, Pence would not do it. I give him credit for that. And a couple of his so-called lieutenants turned on him.
Yeah.
We had to see that.
I did see that. I saw a few of those, and I see that a couple of people are leaving the White House. They're resigning.
Yeah.
But
they're just trying to show their feelings.
They have to, otherwise if you're on his side, I don't know. There's a possible lot of lawsuits coming.
Yeah, I just hope he gets everything he deserves. That's all.
I just couldn't believe how far they got. They breached the Capitol basically with little to no firepower.
I don't know how they did that. Well, what is it? The mayor of D.C. is investigating it. But I don't know how they got in there.
Well, I mean, you and I have both been to DC. I mean, we know that the security there is generally pretty high. I felt
Yeah,
like 49% of the police force casually went for a coffee break for 3 hours.
yeah,
I think there's a lot of Trump cops out there that just
yeah.
casually went
Yeah,
to
I watched CNN and they showed some people going up to a window,
yeah.
breaking the glass and going in.
Yeah. Yeah. There was nothing there to stop them. I don't know.
Yeah, they sure would have stopped them. But
Just
a miss. They went right in there and went into the house it was, or maybe the Senate also. But I remember they went into the house and sat down there in Pelosi's chair.
yeah. That guy still has not been arrested yet.
Yeah,
But yeah, the internet is on the case. I've seen the internet, creating so many pictures of this and whatnot. But yeah, they're trying to find him.
yeah,
But that's some craziness, isn't it?
crazy.
Yeah. Well, we'll get together probably later next week for some lunch if
Okay,
that works. All right.
give me a call. I'd love to do it.
Will do. Love you, Grandpa.
Thanks. Love you. Bye.
Bye.